What happens when an algorithm becomes part of a defamation lawsuit? Was the platform responsible for its AI's actions, or did the court draw a line between human intent and algorithmic processes? Tune in to uncover the surprising verdict and its implications for the future of tech, transparency, and law.
Welcome back to Yee's Law Journal. I'm Josh, and today we have a fascinating legal case to unpack. It's China's first lawsuit involving algorithm-generated search suggestions and alleged defamation. Joining me to explore this is my good friend and fellow legal enthusiast, Alice. Hi, Alice.
Hi, Josh. This one's really exciting technology and law colliding in a way that feels very relevant right now. Let's dive in.
Absolutely. So, this case has two defendants. First, there's Mr. Zia, who published articles and videos containing some pretty strong language about the plaintiff, a Shenzhen-based renewable energy company. Then there's the platform that hosted these posts and also generated some controversial search suggestions linked to the plaintiff's name.
The search suggestions like fraud and scam, right? That sounds like something that could be really damaging to a company's reputation.
Exactly, and that's the core of the plaintiff's complaint. They argued that Mr. Zia's posts harmed their brand and that the platform's algorithm amplified the damage by displaying those negative search suggestions.
I can see how that combination would be concerning. But did the plaintiff offer any proof of actual harm to their reputation or business?
Interestingly, the plaintiff pointed out the potential harm to their brand value and reputation, but didn't provide much concrete evidence of financial loss. Their argument focused on how these negative associations could shape public perception.
Got it. So the big question becomes whether Mr. Zia's statements and the platform's algorithm crossed legal boundaries.
Exactly, and that's what the court had to figure out.
Okay, so what did the court decide about Mr. Zia's posts?
Well, the court took a nuanced view. They acknowledged that some of what Mr. Zia said was based on fact. He wasn't entirely making things up. But they also found that phrases like fraudster and deceiving the public were excessive and damaging. The court ruled that this kind of language went beyond fair criticism and constituted defamation.
That makes sense. But what about the platform? Did the court hold it accountable for the algorithm-generated search suggestions?
This is where things get really interesting. The court determined that the search suggestions were created automatically, based on users' past searches, without any human involvement. The platform explained its algorithm in detail and showed that it didn't intentionally promote negative content or profit from it.
So the court decided the platform wasn't at fault?
Exactly. The court also noted that the plaintiff hadn't used the platform's official complaint system to flag the issue. Instead, they left a comment on one of the articles, which didn't qualify as a formal notification. Without that, the platform couldn't be held responsible for not acting sooner.
That's a fair point. And the court must have taken into account China's recent algorithm regulations, right?
Definitely. The court highlighted the platform's obligation under the Algorithm Recommendation Management provisions to provide transparency about how its algorithms work. The platform did just that. It gave a detailed explanation of the algorithm's functionality and demonstrated that it couldn't feasibly pre-screen every search suggestion.
That seems like a practical approach. This case really balances technological realities with legal standards.
It does. And I think it sets a strong precedent for similar cases in the future.
Absolutely. It's also a reminder for companies to make sure they're following formal complaint procedures when they feel their rights are being infringed.
Exactly. This case shows how important it is for all parties, platforms, users, and businesses to understand their rights and responsibilities. For platforms, transparency isn't just a legal requirement. It's also key to building trust with users.
Agreed. It's a great example of how the law is evolving to address the challenges of modern technology.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Alice. Thanks so much for joining me today. It's always a pleasure to have these discussions with you.
Anytime, Josh. I love chatting about these cutting-edge cases.
And thank you, listeners, for tuning in to Yee's Law Journal. Don't forget to subscribe and share your thoughts on today's episode. Until next time, take care.